In 2010, Southwest Indiana commissioned a comprehensive report by Gartner Economics. And what we discovered was that, like many communities in the Midwest, the housing stock in Southwest Indiana was not up to par and that it needed to be addressed. Through the Blight Elimination Program, the Economic Development Coalition of Southwest Indiana has helped communities in our region remove houses and blighted property like this one, allowing neighborhoods to be revitalized. BEP is one of the many foundations in helping to make Indiana's Great Southwest the new frontier for talent and business. Welcome. We're here today with Debbie Bennett-Stearsman, one of our key team members for the Economic Development Coalition. But more importantly, Debbie has really had the charge of dealing with our Blight Elimination Program, which is a state and federal program that Debbie is dealing with. And maybe the first question we could ask about what is the BEP and why do we need it?
Well, BEP, our Blight Elimination Program, was first introduced to our counties by the state of Indiana in late 2014. And the purpose of the program was to identify abandoned and blighted structures throughout the state and get those houses down, get the property cleaned up, and get that property repurposed, redeveloped, and back on tax rolls. Blighted sites in Southwest Indiana, and in fact all over the state of Indiana, was a very major concern, and still is, but there was very little to no money for the communities to address those problems.
So what are some of the players? I mean, there are lots of acronyms with some of these federal agencies, state agencies. Who's involved in the program?
Well, the Blight Elimination Program came out of the stimulus package that then President Barack Obama introduced in 2009 and came from a program ran by the Troubled Asset Relief Program, or TARP, which is the federal government. It then became dubbed the Hardest Hit Fund, and for Indiana, it was the Indiana Hardest Hit Fund. And these funds were managed by the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority, or we call IHCDA, and they were mainly for people at that time who were jobless, laid off, could not afford their mortgage payments at a time of decline in the economy. These mortgage payments would be made directly to banks, and banks were to participate in the program. Well, as you could tell with the enormous amount of paperwork, the banks were not really willing and didn't want to devote that much time to letting people enter the program. So after about 3 years of that program, there was funding left over, and in particular in the state of Indiana, there was around $80 million left. So the state decided to amend that program, and that program then became the Blight Elimination Program. So they felt if you can't help the people take care of the houses, then more than likely a lot of them have been absorbed by foreclosure or tax sale or just totally abandoned by people. So now we're going to come up with funding to try to help demolish those sites, clean them up, get them back into reuse, and put them back on the tax rolls. So we have federal, state, and then our local government that's involved.
So what role does the coalition play, or how do we assist in that, and what does that actually look like?
Well, I think that the coalition plays, in our area, the coalition plays a very key role for Posey, Gibson, and Warwick counties. We took the role of going out into every community in our 3 counties as well as the county, and we promoted the program. Well, it looked like we were going to have possibly 12 to 14 applications. So we brought each county and their local governments within the county together, and we formed a regional group, which worked very well, got all of our elected officials thinking the same, and we came up with 3 county applications.
So everybody know, we want to stop and make this point, is that though the coalition is within 4 counties, 3 counties participated in this, and then the city of Evansville, they were working on their own program through this.
Correct.
Okay.
The city of Evansville partnered with Vanderburgh County, and they ran their own program, much like ours, and that was already established since they already had an organization that deals with housing.
So how long does, lots of paperwork, you're dealing with the federal government, you're dealing with the state government, you have other partners. I mean, how long does it take to prepare just all the paperwork to actually get a house down?
To get one house down, I would say I would not be exaggerating if I would tell you to get one house down, it could take as much as a month for one house. There's a lot of paperwork involved from the minute that that house is identified by either just someone calling in and telling us, or a county official, any elected official coming to us, or if the participant or the owner came to us and said, I'd like to be in this program. We have to go through a process where we have to get this house qualified. So we have to work with the homeowner, have them do site matrices, do many pictures from different angles, tell us what exactly is wrong with the house. Then they have to sign up to be in the program, actually enter into an agreement with the state of Indiana.
Because it's a volunteer process.
It's a voluntary process. And you have to remember, in some cases, these houses were houses that were abandoned, or they were on the tax sale. So we had to go through and try to identify who the owner is. And maybe that owner has died, maybe has been left to an estate, a family member that didn't even realize they owned it. And then we would contact them and tell them about the program. So once we get them involved, we get their matrix scored, we get the applications together, then we go through what's called a waiver process that's signed off by county commissioners, sent in to IHCDA. They go through all of our work and the property owner's work to make sure everything's correct, and then they finally allow that house to be in the program. And now during the course of the last 4 years, we have worked with over 300 individual properties, doing that much work just to get those houses either qualified or not qualified to be in the program. And at current time, we have done 212 of those successfully throughout the 3 counties.
I feel like this program was such a success because we were able to work with Debbie Bennett-Stearsman with the Economic Development Coalition. And she was able to put us together with the Warwick County Commissioners, the Boonville City Code Enforcement Officers, and with Boonville Now, and we all worked together in obtaining this money and tearing down the 72 homes.
Obviously puts those back on the tax rolls where before they were just sitting rotting, so now we have new tax revenue.
In addition to the tax revenue, it also puts these homes back on utility revenue for the city of Boonville. I feel like the program was such a success because it actually put local government, being the city of Boonville, the Warwick County Commissioners, and the nonprofit Boonville Now together.
The commissioners were able to, for the first time ever, do a tax sale and deed some of the properties that had been on multiple tax sales and never moved.
And what a difference it's made for our community, and really a difference it's made for the people of our community, because they're excited about our community again. And instead of driving by and seeing blighted properties, it really brings people down. They're bringing back pride and ownership in Boonville, and it is apparent in our community.
And then our role as a coalition is we go out and actually serve as program manager while the house is coming down. We're on site watching that there is clean fill dirt, that there is clean topsoil according to specification, that there's proper seeding and straw. If there is any extra money for the budget for that house, we take down shrubs and trees to make the site very appealing for redevelopment. So all of those documents then are uploaded on IHCDA's website, their online portal, to get the contractor, the attorney, and everybody else paid.
So it's pretty intensive, and the idea is that once you get through all the work, there's a lot of work to get to the point where you can actually demolish a home. I mean, what's the purpose? What's the idea that once you get to that point where you can demolish the home, I mean, what happens after the homes are demolished, and how does that impact the value of the property that's surrounding it?
Well, typically, when we started the program, we had everyone just call it green space. We wanted to get it down, get it clean, get the grass growing, because there is a period of time involved for the property owner that they have to maintain and take care of that property. Now you have to remember that we're not only allowing people, new owners into it, we are allowing people that currently own the building that maybe have moved somewhere else that couldn't tear it down. So their obligation is they have to take out a 3-year forgivable interest-free mortgage, and in exchange for that budget of $25,000 for that home, we want them to take care of it. And by taking care of it means keeping it mowed, keeping trash off, or they have the opportunity to sell it. There is a process to go through during that time, but they can actually sell that property after it's cleaned up, and that's our hope, is that they either build on it, sell it, And in some instances, we've had Habitat want the property and they are building homes on it. Now, why it may appear on an assessor card that a site, once the structure is down, may not be of the correct value or lesser value, but it makes a greater value to the people living in that neighborhood. Numerous times when we're taking down houses, people will come out and thank us because it makes their property value go up. And even if that site is left as a blank and it's kept clean, it's much better than what they currently had in that terrible old structure that was sitting there.
I want to thank you for being a part of the Blight Elimination Program. It is a voluntary program. It's a program that shows the value of what's happening with the coalition, but really the power of everyone working better together for Indiana's Great Southwest. If you like what you see, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the bell, and you'll get notifications. Thanks again.